They each stand 6 feet 7 inches tall. Kentucky's offensive basket to our left, as we said, as Zinn controls the tap just in the front court to Dick Hoban of the Gators, and the ball game is underway. Outside pass to Charlie Pike and over to Hobbs. He's got Adrian Smith on him as Johnny Cox is on Pike, moving down to the right side. Krigler switches off. He shoots no good. Beck rebounds for Kentucky. Passes up to Adrian Smith. Brings the Wildcats in front court 3-3. Off the right to Krigler. Here's a 20-footer that's short. No good. Florida's got the rebound. It's knocked down on the floor. Fighting in to pick it up is Krigler as he ties up with Pike. Fine fighting play by John Krigler for the jump ball with Pike. Krigler at 6'3" will have 2 inches height advantage, jumping at the Kentucky free throw line. Each team one shot, no points. Nobody gets to the ball and will jump again. 35 seconds to go. Have gone, rather. Here's the tap out over the head of Adrian Smith. Picks it up near center court to set Kentucky up. Down the left to Hatton to Cox on the side. Back to Odie Smith, going against Hobbs to the baseline. Pulls up and shoots. It's no good. Hatton rebounds, lays it in. Vernon Hatton right out in front. Picked up the rebound with a two-hand control shot. Gives Kentucky a lead, 2-0. Charlie Pike of Florida bringing the Gators back in front court as he comes over the center stripe now against Vernon Hatton. Crisscrosses over to Hobbs down the left side, and a jump shot, good. Joe Hobbs sacking up the first shot of the ball game for Florida. Ties it 2-2 in front court. Cox on the left side. One bounce dribble back out to Adrian Smith. Over to Vernon Hatton down the left side to Cox. One bounce dribble back out this time to Smith. Smith fakes to go. Down the left against Pike. He walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Florida. Pike gives a bounce pass into Joe Hobbs. A tremendously dangerous shooter. Now it's back over to Pike. He moves it into front court off the crisscross out deep. Fakes to go. Hatton knocks it down. It's kicked out of bounds and goes to Kentucky. Clock is stopped after 1 minute and 22 seconds of play. It's 2-2 with Hobbs of Florida and Hatton of Kentucky owning a field goal. Adrian Smith moving Kentucky back in front court. Down the right to Krigler. Back outside to Hatton. Fakes an outside shot. Jump shot over Pike is good. Vernon Hatton with his first outside shot and second field goal to give Kentucky another 2-point lead. This one stands at 4-2. Now it's Charlie Pike moving up into front court for Florida, playing Zinn up on the free throw line in the pivot over to Hobbs. Breaks to the left side. Cox picks him up as he goes into the corner and shoots. No good. Zinn taps. No good. Krigler rebounds for Kentucky. He moves up floor. Johnny Cox falls down, and it's out of bounds as they call Krigler for double dribbling. Krigler made just a hesitation in the bounce of the ball on the dribble, and Florida gets it off the left side of its offensive court. Hobbs passing deep to Pike now. Kentucky leads 4-2. 2 minutes, 10 seconds have been played here in Gainesville. Down the right side to Henderson. Back over to Hobbs. Gets open. 20-footers, no good. Pushing foul call under the Florida basket on Zinn of Florida. The first personal foul of the ball game. 6'7" Jim Zinn called after 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And Ed Beck, still playing with that left shoulder heavily taped but no longer infected, stands in for one free throw on the backcourt foul. Hatton has 2 field goals to lead Kentucky into this 4-2 edge. Beck's free throw, good. So with Beck's free throw, Kentucky steps out by 3 points at 5-2. Charlie Pike gets the bounce pass coming in. Back over to Hobbs, moving up in front court against the Wildcats. Picked up by Adrian Smith. Gives on the right side to Henderson. A collision out deep, and a foul is called on Adrian Smith of Kentucky, we believe. Henderson will go to the Florida free throw line. Who's that on? It is Adrian Smith drawing the personal foul, his first of the game. Henderson of Ashland, Kentucky shoots for Florida and misses. The rebound knocked over by Beck to Krigler. Brings it into front court, gives to Hatton. Slants off to the left, stays deep. Right behind Beck with a jump shot that's no good. Short of the rim, and Zinn rebounds. Hands it over to Charlie Pike. Kentucky still leading 5-2. Up to Joe Hobbs in front court. Drops the ball, but Smith playing him loosely out near the center stripe. He breaks down the left. Tries to work the back block. Doesn't go outside to Charlie Pike. Pike moves to the right. Here's a foul as Hatton tries to fight through on Zinn. So that's the first foul on Vernon Hatton. Kentucky's committed 2 personals now. Each of the guards drawing one. Jim Zinn on the Gator free throw line for a single try. 17 minutes, 12 seconds here in the first half as Zinn stands in now. Puts the right toe right up on the stripe and shoots. It's no good. Cox gets the rebound for Kentucky. Whips it out to Odie Smith. Running 2 against 4, though, with Krigler. He stops at the free throw line, gives to Hatton from 25 feet. No good. Short to the right. Hobbs gets the rebound in front of Krigler. High pass to Charlie Pike moving in front court. So Kentucky's had 3 trips down court now, not scoring, and Florida trails by only 3. Here's Zinn with a 15-foot jump shot. No good. Gets the rebound back to him. Falls away with another one. It's no good. Comes up, goes in. At ball bounced 3 times on the rim for Jim Zinn and dropped in to make it a 5-4 ball game. Now Vernon Hatton in front court for Kentucky. Down the left side to Cox, back to Hatton. Krigler comes out, goes through. Hatton moves out to the top of the circle, backs away, passes over to Adrian Smith, fakes to Beck, cuts, goes right down the middle on Hobbs, and shoots no good. The ball actually went up on the underside of the basket. Florida Zinn gets the rebound over to Hobbs, and so the Gators now trail by 1 point. They have the ball. Joe Hobbs up in the front court, down the right side to Henderson, who brings it out deep. Krigler lets him go to the left side all the way. He hands over on the side now, and here's Hoban faking a shot, then giving out to Pike. Pike brings it out to set it up again. Zinn comes out to the free throw line for the pivot position pick. Here's a drive by Pike. Quick pull up on the shot's no good. Short of the rim. Adrian Smith gets the rebound, and a foul on Zinn of Florida is his second one. So each team has committed 2 personals now in 4 minutes of play. Zinn getting both of them for the Gators. Smith and Hatton committing the 2 by Kentucky, and Ed Beck's on the free throw line once again. "16 minutes and 1 second exactly here in the first half. Beck's free throw is good, and Kentucky leads by 6-4. So Beck has 2 points. Hatton has 4 on the field goals. And we're back to play now. Charlie Pike in front court for Florida. Crisscrosses with Hobbs. Keeps coming to the right side. Feeds into Hoban, and a hook. Short. No good. Beck rebounds for Kentucky. Gives it out to Johnny Cox. The Cats running 4-on-2. Here's Hatton on the right side all the way. He got it. Vernon Hatton driving hard for his 3rd field goal. Puts Kentucky in front by 8-4, the longest lead of the ball game. Florida has been unable to get the lead after pulling even at 2-2. Charlie Pike in front court, crisscrosses, leaves it for Hobbs, fakes a shot, takes it from 20 feet, no good, short. Up for the rebound is Krigler, tapping it away from Jerry Henderson, the Kentucky boy playing for Florida. Krigler brings it on in front court, passes over to Hatton. He pulls up at the free throw line, shoots, no good, tapped by Beck, and it's good. The goal counts, and they nullify it. How about that? They call a foul on Beck, tapping it in and then nullify it. And Beck shows his disgust for that. He was up tapping that ball in the basket, and Hatton's officially complaining. Well, the foul nonetheless goes against Beck. His first one, the 3rd against Kentucky, and Zinn is on the Florida free throw line. He'll shoot 1, 15 minutes, 18 seconds here in the first half at Gainesville. The shot's good. Florida's first free throw in 3 attempts. It's 8-5 as Hatton moves back in front court. Trails back to the pivot, then feeds over to Krigler on the right. Back to Hatton, outside to Cox. 1 bounce dribble, a 25-footer's good. Another foul on this play. Who gets this one? Henderson of Florida. Will the goal count? Yeah, they're going to let this one go. Johnny Cox getting his first field goal of the game to put the Cats in front 10-5. Who's the foul on Henderson? That's the first foul on Henderson. Each team's got 3. Krigler misses the free throw, gets the rebound, and lays it up. No good. Tapped up, no good by Cox. So Florida's got the rebound now as Charlie Pike moves it up the back court. Kentucky leads by 5 points. Pike against Hatton, drives down the left side. A back block pass that was going for Hoban, but it was overled by Pike, and Kentucky takes over. Hatton fires into Adrian Smith, who moves it into front court. Feeds back on the pivot, right back to him. He's wide open and lays it in. Man, that was a bing-bang play. Smith hit Beck, Beck hit Smith, and he hit the net. Timeout, Florida. First time out of the ball game. We've played 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And the score stands, Kentucky 12, Florida 5. So in the last 1 minute and 21 seconds of play, Kentucky has picked up a 6-1 edge on Florida, where they had held a 6-4 advantage. The scoring so far is Vernon Hatton, 6 points on 3 field goals. Cox has 2 points on a field goal. Beck has 2 points on free throws. Smith has 2 points on the field goal that just went in. For Florida, their top scorer is Jim Zinn with 3 points and Joe Hobbs with 2. Florida has 2 field goals. Kentucky has 5. The Cats have hit 2 for 3 at the free throw line, and Florida's hit 1 for 3. So that's the scoring picture here early in the ball game. 5 minutes and 20 seconds gone in the first half. Kentucky's next action will be 1 week from tomorrow when they play Ole Miss in Lexington. Broadcast time 7:45 over these same Standard Oil stations. Kentucky will be off now for 8 days. Back to play as Joe Hobbs, Gator captain, moves in front court. Crisscross is staying outside with the ball. Takes a 25-footer, and it's no good short. On the bounce, Adrian Smith got the rebound for Kentucky. Fast breaks 3-on-3, gives over to Krigler down the right to Hatton. He fakes, breaks by Hobbs, and shoots it up. No good. Beck picks it up, slams it into the floor. Now Hatton picks it up and comes outside with it from 10 feet, hits. Vernon Hatton drops in his 4th field goal. And the score is Kentucky 14, Florida 5. Charlie Pike over the center stripe for the Gators. Crisscrosses with Hobbs. Down the right side to Henderson. He throws it out of bounds. Holben was breaking wide open, but couldn't get by Beck. And nobody got a hand on the ball for the last 25 feet. Hatton in front court. High pivot pass to Beck. Spins right. Hooks from the left too high on the boards. Holben rebounds for Florida. Hangs on with a pass over to Charlie Pike now. Pike walking up the back court. Passes a high one to Hobbs at the center stripe. Hobbs starts right, comes to the left side. Hatton switches off. Cox switches off to pick him up and drive him into the left corner. High pass over the head of Henderson, picked up by Beck of Kentucky. Outside to Smith, who moves it up into front court now. Top rim of the circle. Breaks, goes all the way on Zinn, and a foul goes against Florida's Jim Zinn. So that is 3 personal fouls on 6'7" Jim Zinn. And 4 against the Gators, compared to 3 on the Wildcats, as Adrian Smith makes his first free throw line appearance of the contest. 13 minutes and 29 seconds to play. Smith hits, and the Cats lead by 15-5. For Adrian, that's 3 points. Back into front court now. Charlie Pike of Florida against Vernon Hatton. Comes to the right. Adrian Smith picks him up as he goes to the baseline. Passes a high outside one to Hobbs. Hatton loosens up as Hobbs moves slowly to the left. Comes back to the right. Comes back to the left now and passes to Pike with Smith on him. Fakes to the right, comes down the left side, free throw line deep, passes back out to Hobbs. Florida guards seeming undecided about the screens here. Smith on Pike now, switching off as he goes into the left corner. Passing over to Jerry Henderson. Holben is left wide open. Now Cox picks him up, and Henderson from 15 feet misses. Cox slaps the ball up into the air, gets it for Kentucky. Beautiful rebound by Johnny Cox. Over to Krigler, whips in front court to Smith. Moves to the free throw line, gives over to Hatton in the right corner. A fake outside to Cox from 20 feet. It's no good. Tapped by Beck twice. Outside it goes now to Holben, and it's 3-on-1 against Adrian Smith. Here's the pass over to Pike, back to Holben. He missed a wide-open shot, and Krigler rebounds for Kentucky. Back up in the front court, it goes down the left side to Cox. Cox looks at Beck and then takes a 20-foot shot that's way over the rim, and Hatton knocks it out of bounds to Florida. The score, Kentucky 15, Florida 5. Charlie Pike of the Gators walking up the backcourt with the ball. Giving over to Joe Hobbs, who moves over the center stripe. Florida playing with 2 field goals after 8 minutes. Here's Hobbs from 25 feet, missing. Hit short, knocked down, ball out of bounds to Florida as Krigler and Beck slam it away from Jerry Henderson. 8 minutes gone. Florida has 5 points on 2 field goals and a free throw. Kentucky has 15 points. Jim Zinn out of bounds. High two-handed pass out to Hobbs, straight away 30 feet. He moves slowly to the left, backing away from Hatton. Gets his screen set. Slants off to the left. Hatton closes up to prevent a shot into Zinn. A 15-foot hooks, no good. Off to the left. Krigler picks it up on the bounce. Starts the Cats on a break. Florida gets the defense to choke it off. Passing out to Hatton now, sets it up. Passes back to Krigler. Krigler out to Adrian Smith, who sets from 25 feet. Good. Adrian Smith drops in his second field goal and 5th point, and Kentucky leads 17-5. The score was 6-4 when the Cats went on this rampage of 11 points to hold the Gators to 1. Here's Pike down the right side for Florida, free throw line deep. Waves the ball overhead, can't find anybody to throw it to except Hobbs out deep. Breaks to the left, falls away from Hatton and shoots no good. Tapped by Zinn, it's no good. Again by Zinn, no good. And a foul is called against Krigler of Kentucky. It's the first personal on John Krigler. And each team is committed for, without a substitution in this game. We've got 11 minutes, 7 seconds in the first half. While we wait for the free throws, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. It's 29 minutes past 8 o'clock.
Jim Zinn of Florida drops in the free throw to make the score 17-6. And Hatton moves it in front court, passing over to Smith, down the left to Cox, hesitates, gives out to Hatton, fakes a shot, breaks in from 10 feet and shoots no good. Rebounding Johnny Cox. A hook, it's no good. Zinn rebounds for Florida. Kentucky 17, Florida 6. Hobbs breaks down against Adrian Smith on the left side. Goes to the corner, down to the baseline. Jump shot, good. Joe Hobbs finally works himself clear for his second field goal, and a 3 straight Florida run makes it 17-8. Up into front court now, Adrian Smith. Down the right to Krigler. Fakes Henderson, goes right by him to the basket. Out of shooting position. Hobbs double teams, and he hooks it up, no good. Beck taps, no good. Krigler rebounds. Can't shoot, comes out with it, and a whistle. He stepped on the baseline, and Florida takes over. Joe Hobbs passing into Charlie Pike. Florida has now come to life as they run off 3 points while Kentucky has not scored. However, Kentucky still leads 17-8. Now here's Pike throwing it over the head of Henderson out of bounds. And Adrian Smith passes into Vernon Hatton. He brings the catch back in front court. Beck moves up in the free throw line, and the pivot, it's over on the left side to Cox. He fakes to Hatton, has it knocked down, picked up by Beck, given back to Cox. He takes down the right side, shoots it back out deep to Hatton, in the pivot to Beck. Hatton goes by, Beck turns, gives to Hatton. Wide open, he lays it in. Vernon Hatton getting open for his 5th field goal here in Gainesville. Kentucky 19, Florida 8. 9 minutes, 40 seconds in the first half as Florida takes timeout. Well, that's the second timeout for the Gators. And as they call this timeout, the score is Kentucky 19, Florida 8. The Wildcats and Gators stood at 6-4 after 4 minutes of play. And then the Cats went on their rampage, and we're going to get our first substitution of the ball game. Bob Sherwood, 20-year-old sophomore from Linwood, New York. He's 6'5", weighs 205, Sherwood. Zinn is coming out. Sherwood is the number 6 scorer with 41 points, an average of 4.1. Kentucky not making a change in the lineup. Scoring so far, Vernon Hatton has 10 points on 5 field goals, and Smith has 5 on 2 field goals and a free throw. 2 points for Cox on a field goal and 2 points for Beck on the free throw line. Krigler has not scored. For Florida, Hobbs is the top man with 4 points, and then Zinn with 3. Checkers, Zinn with 4 points, 2 for 3 at the free throw line and a field goal. Hobbs and Zinn divide the 8 Florida points. As we get ready to go back to play, the Gators have it at midcourt. Sherwood replacing Zinn in the pivot cost Florida 2 inches of height advantage. And it all, of course, goes to Ed Beck at 6'7". Here's the incoming pass to Joe Hobbs, the Gator captain, averaging almost 24 points a game. Moving into front court now against Adrian Smith. Zips over to the left. Hatton picks him up. He gives over to Hoban. A high jump shot, no good from 20 feet. Knocking down the rebound is Krigler, but he's tied up by Florida's Dick Hoban, the Miami junior. And he and Krigler jump on the Florida free throw line. Both of them are 6'3". 9:27 here in the first half at Gainesville. Krigler taps easily to Adrian Smith. Passing over to Vernon Hatton now, who moves in front court for the Wildcats. Down the right to Krigler, back to Hatton. Smith goes through. Pass comes out to Cox from 25 feet. He walks with it. Cox walking on the takeoff for the shot. Gives the ball to Florida down in backcourt. Kentucky 19, Florida 8. Joe Hobbs in front court for the Gators now. Moving to the right side, hustling back to the left. Hatton picks up, then Cox switches. He gives to Hoban. In the pivot to Henderson. A hook. It's good. Jerry Henderson with a swooping hook shot 10 feet away to make it 19-10. Adrian Smith of Kentucky in front court. Passes to Beck in the pivot. It's knocked down by Pike, taken by Hobbs. Over to Pike. He goes in, and he missed it. Henderson taps, no good. Sherwood taps, no good. Sherwood rebounds, lays it up, no good. Fight for the ball to the outside. Henderson of Florida's got it. Off the left corner, it goes to Pike. He's wide open. The shot's way short, and Beck rebounds. Fires it to Hatton. Pike knocks it out of bounds, and Kentucky will get it. Well, there's a flurry of rebounding strength by Florida. Smith and Hatton bring it up the backcourt now with a 19-10 Kentucky lead. Hatton in front court works Krigler on the right side. Back to Hatton, breaking to the baseline. Spins and drops the ball, and it's picked up by Sherwood of Florida. So that's 3 straight times now Kentucky has brought the ball in front court without getting a shot. Up in the front court's Hobbs, breaking to the left side for Florida. Hatton goes with him to the corner. He gets a quick shot that's no good. Slapped to the outside by Beck. It's taken by Cox. He brings it on into front court, down the right side. Watches Krigler run, then gives it over to Hatton deep. Hatton pulls in behind Beck. 25-footer, no good. Tapped by Beck, no good, and he's called for pushing. Ed Beck drawing his second foul. 5 against Kentucky, 4 against Florida, with 7 minutes and 51 seconds to play. Bob Sherwood stands in now at the Florida free throw line for 1 shot. He is scoreless in this ball game. The only substitute. He shoots good. Hatton in front court, passing to Krigler on the right side against Hobbs. Hobbs knocks it down. Krigler backs out and gets it. Gives to Beck, moving in front court. A 1-bounce dribble and over to Hatton to Smith. Smith moves to the right, gives to Krigler. Takes a 25-footer that's no good. High over the rim. Krigler slaps it down. Smith picks it up. Double team, moves under. Can't get a shot away, and then he walks with it. So there are 4 times that Kentucky has come down floor without getting a shot. They call timeout. So that's the first timeout for Kentucky. Stops the clock with 7 minutes and 27 seconds in the first half. Kentucky 19, Florida 11, but the Gators are battling back. Well, Kentucky had the Gators 15-5 And Florida's outscored Kentucky now by 6-4 in this last flurry of activity. And the Wildcats have been down the floor the last 4 times with only one shot. We'd like to remind you right now that Kentucky, after this road trip of 3 games, will return home and then play 3 of the next 4 games in the Coliseum at Lexington. They start off the stand 1 week from tomorrow night. That's February 8th against Ole Miss at the Coliseum. And broadcast time over these same Standard Oil stations will be 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. When we go back to play, Florida has the ball at the baseline in backcourt. Kentucky has a lead of 8 points, as neither team has been able to hit well and take the scoring lead in the contest, although Kentucky at one time had it stretched out to 19-8. Hobbs and Charlie Pike moving up the backcourt now as we resume action here in Gainesville, Florida. Pike moving to the right side, fakes Adrian Smith, goes down the middle, loses the ball. Sherwood picks it up, gets wide open from the right side and misses. Donnie Cox, right up near the Florida rim, gets the rebound, hooks a pass out to Adrian Smith, who brings it into front court, goes all the way on Charlie Pike and misses. A foul is called blocking on Charlie Pike of Florida. And for Pike, that's his first foul. And each team has committed 5. With 7 minutes and 8 seconds in this first half. Adrian Smith on the free throw line. Shooting 1. Smith shoots good. So the score is Kentucky 20, Florida 11. Charlie Pike gets the incoming pass, shoots it right back to Joe Hobbs. Hobbs moves in front court deliberately to the top rim of the circle against Smith. Breaks to the left side. He gets open from 25 feet. No good. And brother Sherwood went up and hit the rim of the basket. A foul on Ed Beck. That's 3 of them on Beck. So Kentucky's now committed 6 personal fouls, and Don Mills is going to replace Ed Beck as Bob Sherwood stands at the Florida free throw line where he hasn't missed. Shooting 1. Sherwood arches it in. The Gators are now within 8 points at 20-12. Up in the front court, Hatton feeds Krigler on the right side. From 20 feet, he misses. Rebound taken by Hoban of Florida. Shoots it out to Charlie Pike, moving in front court. Top rim of the circle, he pulls up. Hands behind him to Hobbs, moving to the left side. Cox moves out to cut off a shot. He feeds it over to Hoban now. Hoban moves down the left side against Cox, breaks out and shoots. No good. Johnny Cox takes off the rebound beautifully. Firing over to Adrian Smith, who moves up into front court. Shoots the left side. To Beck, who goes right down the middle on Sherwood and knocks it away. Picked up by Henderson, cut off by Adrian Smith of Kentucky. Off the left side to Hatton, who takes the shot. No good. Rebounding Florida. Bob Sherwood takes it off, and Hatton knocks it away, and Krigler picks it up. That's 2 straight Florida rebounds. Kentucky is knocked away. Krigler out deep now to Adrian Smith as Kentucky sets it up. With a lead of 20-12. It's out deep to Hatton. Hobbs on him. Hatton turns his back to him, then moves in behind Beck. Cuts, goes down the middle, turns his back on Sherwood, and shoots high and no good. Hatton knocks down the rebound. Now it's Cox moving out to get it. And 3 times Kentucky's knocked the rebound away from the Gators. Hatton bringing it back out deep. Bounce pass to Cox on the left side. He weaves, brings it out to the top rim of the circle, hands it over to John Krigler at the free throw line. A jump shot's good. So John Krigler breaks his scoring drought with his first point of the night to make it 22-12 Kentucky. Joe Hobbs of Florida back in front court, down the right side to Henderson, breaks out against Krigler, gives over to Pike, moving down the right side and shoots no good. Rebounding Johnny Cox of Kentucky. A 1-bounce, 2-bounce dribble, and then over to Vernon Hatton, who moves it up into front court. Moves in behind Beck to trail him into the pivot and take Pike to the baseline. Sherwood double teams and he pass out to Beck from 25 feet. He misses. Knocked out of bounds by Krigler, and Cox on the rebound. It goes to Florida. Don Mills still waits at the table to get in for the catch. 5 minutes here in the first half at Gainesville. Kentucky with a 10-point lead. Charlie Pike of Florida has it deep into the left side. Bringing it to the right side against Adrian Smith now. Pulls up, fires to Hoban under the basket. On Cox, he takes a high hook that's no good. Krigler knocks it down. Cox knocks it down and picked up by Sherwood of Florida. He lays it in 5 feet away. Bob Sherwood with his first field goal tonight makes it Kentucky 22, Florida 14. Adrian Smith, Kentucky on the left side to Cox. Back to Smith. Hatton goes under the basket. The pass is to Krigler. He passes out deep to Cox, over to Smith, to Hatton in the left corner. The shot no good. Off the rim, Florida's Charlie Pike's got it. Hatton meets him at the center stripe. He passes over to Hobbs. Hobbs starts to the right, dances down the side. Krigler picks him up, He brings it back out deep now. Passes over to Charlie Pike. Pike watching Sherwood in the pivot. Passing back to Hobbs now. Hobbs takes it to the right side. Cuts back to the left. Whips one under the basket. Henderson lays it up. Good. Jerry Henderson with his second field goal, and Florida now is only 6 points behind at 22-16. Vernon Hatton in front court. A high pivot pass to Beck. Both guards go by. Beck turns. A one-bounce dribble, and he gives over to Krigler. Outside to Hatton, to Beck in the pivot. He moves, and a hook. No good. Florida's got the rebound as Henderson takes it off. Florida beginning to catch fire as Charlie Pike, moving in front court just now against Vernon Hatton, drives down the left side and shoots. No good. Too high on the boards. Krigler gets the rebound for Kentucky. Up the way to Adrian Smith. It's 2-2 with Johnny Cox. Smith hands to Cox from 15 feet. It's no good. Way to the right. Hatton taps it in beautifully. Hatton falling away to the right with a control tap for his sixth field goal. And Kentucky leads by 24-16 with 3 minutes, 20 seconds here in the first half. Joe Hobbs over to Charlie Pike, who crosses midcourt. Against Hatton, he crisscrosses, gives to Hobbs, moving to the right. Has his shot blocked beautifully by Johnny Cox, but Hobbs gets it back, takes it into the left corner, and fires again. No good. Way over the rim. Henderson gets the rebound and falls to one knee. Gives it out to Sherwood, who drives on back and shoots. No good. Gets the rebound, though. Outside pass goes to Hobbs. Set shot. No good. Rebounding Hatton of Kentucky. Almost knocked off his feet by Henderson. Holds on to get it up to Adrian Smith in front court. Fakes on Pike. Leaves him standing and missed the shot. Cox taps. No good. Sherwood rebounds for Florida, and a foul on Johnny Cox of Kentucky. First foul on Cox, and into the Kentucky lineup for the first time is Don Mills. Ed Beck leaves the game. Don Mills, a 20-year-old sophomore from Berea, 6'7", weighs 190. Number 8 scorer with 39 points, an average of 3 1/4 a game. Best night against LSU when he scored 10. Adrian Smith then faked Charlie Pike as badly as we've ever seen anybody faked. He went one way and Smith went the other. So Bob Sherwood, who's come into this game as a substitute to pick up 4 points, is on the line for one shot, and he hasn't missed a free throw. 2 for 2 with 2 minutes 39 seconds here in the first half. Kentucky with an 8-point lead. Sherwood shoots good. So the score's 24-17, Kentucky. And the bonus shot applies, although neither official signaled it. 2 minutes and 39 seconds show on this clock for the first half here in Gainesville, where it's plenty warm. More action a week from tomorrow, February 8th, when Kentucky plays Ole Miss in Lexington. Here's Sherwood, shooting his bonus try, good. So the score now is 24-18. Kentucky has a 6-point lead. Hatton in front court to Krigler on the right side. Against Henderson, he threatens to drive, gives to Smith in the right corner, breaks out on Pike, passes to Hatton at the free throw line. The shot, no good. Tapped up by Don Mills, no good. Cox drops the rebound, comes outside, and has it taken away by Hobbs, but Cox ties him up. Johnny Cox at 6'4" will have 3 inches height advantage on the Florida captain at the Kentucky free throw line. 2 minutes, 22 seconds in the first half. Cox taps to Hatton, standing just in back of him at the top of the circle. He brings to the baseline to the right. Gives outside to Cox in the corner. Back to Krigler on the baseline. He's double-teamed, gets a shot away that's no good. Up for the rebound is Florida's Hoban. He falls and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. 24-18, Kentucky leading Florida here in Gainesville. Where Hoban hit the floor, he asked the official to dry it off. Don Mills will put it in play for the Cats over the baseline to the right of the basket. Here's the pass inside to Adrian Smith. Over to Cox. He moves left. That swooping hook is no good. Rebounding Hoban of Florida. He moves it in front court against Vernon Hatton down the right side. Outside pass to Hobbs now. Hobbs moves to the right. High, leading pass to Hoban, who dropped it out of bounds. Hit him just off the shoulder. Adrian Smith passing into Hatton, who slaps it right back to him. Odie moves it up into front court now. Fakes to the pivot and gives over to the right side to Krigler. Back to Smith to Hatton. Down the left side to Cox, who brings it out. Gives to Odie Smith. 25-foot set shot. No good. Knocked up and out of bounds on the right side to Kentucky. Kentucky leads 24-18. 1 minute, 10 seconds to go in this first half. Vernon Hatton out of bounds, passing deep to Adrian Smith. Smith bringing it back to set it up with Don Mills playing up on the free throw line. Pivot. It's over to Hatton. He moves to the right. Gets a screen from Smith. Sherwood picks him up. He can't come back to shoot. Gives to Smith from the corner. No good. Cox taps. Krigler taps. No good. Cox rebounds and brings it out. Gives to Smith. 20-foot jump shot. Good. Adrian Smith has 3 field goals, and Kentucky leads by 26-18. 45 seconds in this first half. playing here on the University of Florida campus, where there are no students in school right now. Charlie Pike, crisscrossing, gives to Hobbs, fakes a shot, breaks left, 20-footer, no good. Bounces off to the left, and a foul is called on Florida's Bob Sherwood this time, shoving Don Mills around rather healthily under the basket for his first personal foul, and the Gators now have 6 personals. 32 seconds in this first half as Don Mills, Kentucky's only substitute, is on the free throw line, shooting 1. Don Mills, 6'7" sophomore, stands in, shoots, good. The score, Kentucky 27, Florida 18. 30 seconds to go as Joe Hobbs moves her up the backcourt, crosses the center stripe, moves to the left. Hatton picks him up. He gives on the side to Hoban. Back out to Charlie Pike. Breaks under the basket. Hatton knocked it down, but a foul is called on him. Vernon Hatton drawing his second foul of the game. And on the free throw line for Florida with 20 seconds in the first half, Joe Hobbs. He's up there for the first time. Hobbs that time made the move after he had moved to the left side and passed off, went to the corner and right down the baseline. Hatton hooked the pass away from him, but fouled. The bonus rule is into effect as Hobbs stands in for 1 shot, his first appearance. He's missed only 7 out of 68 free throws, almost 90%. Got it. Hobbs is shooting 90% at that free throw line on 69 chances. That's rather phenomenal. Kentucky leads by 8 points. Hobbs in for his bonus try. It's good. So the score is Kentucky 27, Florida 20. We're into the last seconds of the first half now, and Kentucky perhaps will take 1 shot. Smith in front court gives over to Vernon Hatton. Down the left side to Krigler, outside to Hatton to Cox. Top rim of the circle. Breaks to the left on Hoban. Fires it up. Wiley, no good. Mills rebounds and lays it in beautifully. Don Mills with his first field goal, and Florida does not get a shot away, although Pike throws it up high in the rafters, bouncing toward the front door. So at the end of the first half of play, Kentucky has battled into a 9-point edge. Halftime scores, Kentucky 29, Florida 20. Here's the scoring picture. For Kentucky, they're being led by Vernon Hatton, who has picked up a total of 12 points on half. The tap goes to Florida. In front court to Dick Hoban. Takes it down the left side against Adrian Smith. Turns and passes out to Hobbs as Hatton picks him up. He moves down the left side, picked up by Smith in the corner. He looks for somebody to pass to, gives it to Henderson. He takes a hook over Cox, who blocks the shot beautifully. Fine defensive work by Johnny Cox. Up to Adrian Smith in front court. Off the left side to Vernon Hatton. He fakes from the outside, then backs away from Pike and feeds Cox. Back outside to Adrian Smith. He's open, 25-foot set shot, but doesn't take it. Moves in for a jump shot that's no good. Back taps, no good. Zinn knocks down the rebound and takes it for Florida. So each team's made a pass at the basket and failed to score, and it's still 29-20 after 40 seconds. Up in the front court now is Joe Hobbs of the Gators. Moves in against Adrian Smith, comes to the left. Hatton picks him up. He gives over to Hoban and back out to Pike. Pike weaves, breaks to the right. Krigler moves out to pick him up, and off the screen, and jump shot's good. Charlie Pike gets his first point of the ball game here in the second half and pulls Florida within 7 points at 29-22. Smith on the right side of the front court to Krigler. 1 bounce dribble and quickly back to Hatton, and breaks down under the basket by Henderson and hooks it in. Vernon Hatton picks up his 7th field goal. Hatton has as many field goals as Florida, and Kentucky leads 31-22. Up in the front court, Joe Hobbs of the Gators now. Moving to the left side on the crisscross with Pike with staying deep. Hobbs pulls up on the dribble, passes to Pike down in the left corner, looks at Adrian Smith out of the corner of his eye, breaks out. Beck picks him up at the free throw line. Almost knocked the ball loose. He gives over to Hoban, who breaks in and hooks. No good. Slapped up by Zinn. No good outside. Cox knocks it down and picks it away from Hobbs. He drops the ball, holds on, shoots it over to Krigler. Hatton was wide open, but Cox couldn't get a hold of the handle. Hatton fakes on Hobbs, drives in, and got it. Beautiful play by Hatton, who had to get by Hobbs and then avoid contact with Hoban. Hatton has 8 field goals. Kentucky leads 33-22. Well, this equals their longest lead of the ball game, with 2 field goals coming up here by Vernon Hatton. Pike in front court, picked up by Smith as he goes to the right side, looks for the pivot, nobody there, and he gives out to Hobbs. Hobbs staying deep, moves to the left. Hatton on him. He takes it down the left side. Krigler moves on him as he gets to Hoban. Hoban against Beck, who knocked the ball out of bounds. 33-22. The Wildcats are in front of Florida, outscoring the Gators by 2 points so far in the second half. High outside pass to Pike. Pike cuts quickly to the left. Beck picks him up at the baseline. He can't get a shot out of there. Whips one over to Henderson at the free throw line against Krigler. Off the left side to Pike as Smitty moves out to pick him up. He breaks down the baseline, hooks it back in, and Krigler cuts it off for Kentucky. Passes up the way to Johnny Cox. On the left side to Vernon Hatton. Back to Cox in the left corner. He brings it out, lays it off to Krigler, moving down to the baseline, under the basket, out of shooting position, leans back in and stuffs it in. John Krigler's second field goal. Kentucky leads 35-22. Kentucky's longest lead of the ball game now on the boards at 13 points. And we've come 2 minutes, 50 seconds into the second half here at Gainesville. Here's Krigler knocking away one from Henderson, and Hobbs picks up and hits with on a 25-foot set shot. Joe Hobbs has 3 field goals. Florida has 8, the same as Vernon Hatton. 35-24, Kentucky leads with Hatton coming in front court. Down the right side to Krigler. Fakes on Henderson, breaks for the basket, pulls up, falls away, and missed it. Beck taps it in. Ed Beck with his first field goal of the night. 4th point puts Kentucky out in front 37-24. Their second lead of 13 points. Joe Hobbs of Florida back over the center stripe for the Gators now. Angles to the left. Gets a 25er away, and it's good again. Watch out for Joe Hobbs. This boy started hitting now. He's got 4 field goals for the contest, 2 in each half. 37-26, Kentucky leads as Hatton moves it up into front court. Down the right side to Krigler, who brings it out, gets to Odie Smith, breaking to the right, gets away from Pike and lays it in. Up, missed it, but it's tapped in on the left-hand side by Vernon Hatton. Vernon Hatton has 9 field goals, the same as Florida, and Kentucky leads for the third time by 13 points. We have played 4 minutes in the second half. Here's Hobbs in front court to Pike. He breaks to the right off the screen, but Krigler picks him up as he goes down the right side. Free throw line deep. Comes out to the free throw line, gives to Zen from 20 feet. It's no good. Rebound, Johnny Cox of Kentucky. 3 men go for him, and he tries to fight his way out of there and walks with it. Ed Beck protests that Cox was being fouled by 3 men and had to walk with it. But the ball goes over to the Gators as Zen, out of bounds to the left, bounces one under the basket, and it's laid in by Dick Hoban for his first point of the game. 39-28, Kentucky leads as we're getting scoring quick and heavy now. Here's Hoban knocking it away from Cox and out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky on the left side of the offensive court. Adrian Smith out of bounds. Calls his play, passes to Krigler. Top rim of the circle, jump shot's good. John Krigler with his 3rd field goal puts Kentucky on top 41-28. And for the 4th time in the game, Kentucky leads by 13 points. 15 minutes and 10 seconds to go here at Gainesville. Back in front court now, Charlie Pike of the Gators. Fakes to Hobbs, takes it to the left. Krigler picks him up, and he backs away on the side. Hobbs pulls it up over his head, looks to the pivot, passes out. Hatton took it away from Joe Hobbs. Breaks by Hobbs, goes all the way and lays it in. Tremendous play by Vernon Hatton for his 10th field goal, the same as Florida. 43-28. And for the first time in the ball game, Kentucky's in front by 15. Up into front court now. It's on the right side to Jerry Henderson. He lays it off and then hooks good. 15 feet away. Jerry Henderson with his 3rd field goal. Makes it 43-30. Cats leading by 13 points as Sherwood waits to get in for Florida across the way. High pass goes to Beck on the pivot. Hatton goes by. Beck spins to the right and hooks good. Ed Beck zips in a hook shot of his own for field goal number 2 and 6 points. The Cats lead 45-30. The second time they've had a 15-point edge. Down into front court is Hobbs of Florida. Krigler picks him up. He gets a 20-footer away that's no good. Off with it is Krigler of Kentucky. The Cats are running 3-on-2. Krigler in front court pulls up on the right side. Feeds to Cox over to Hatton calling for it. Top of the circle shot is short. Knocking it off is Hobbs of Florida, who takes it. Hatton goes for him and stops him down in back court. Hatton, as a sophomore, turned in a tremendous game here in Gainesville 2 years ago. Hobbs in front court passing to Pike, who's got Hatton on him right now. Back over to Hobbs. Breaks to the left against Adrian Smith. Falls away and shoots. No good. Krigler knocks the rebound down and away from Zen of Florida, and will have a jump. 13 minutes and 42 seconds in this ball game here at Gainesville, and Bob Sherwood, who substituted for 6 points in the first half, is coming in to replace Zen, so he can't with Zen jumping. And here's Walter Rabhan replacing Jerry Henderson at forward. Rabhan, a 19-year-old sophomore from Savannah, Georgia, 6'3", weighs 185, 32 points, an average of 3.5, the number 7 scorer. Kentucky leads 45-30 as Krigler moves in against Zen, giving Florida 4 inches height advantage in their own free throw line. Rabin knocks it out to the outside to Pike, who moves down the right side, and Adrian Smith knocked it away from him. Beck picks it up, back over to Smitty. Adrian against Charlie Pike, runs away and leaves him, goes by Hobbs, who fouled him. Joe Hobbs drawing his first foul of the ball game, and that incidentally is the first foul of the second half. 13.5 minutes to play as Zen comes out and Sherwood replaces him. Well, that's unusual. We came exactly 6.5 minutes without a personal foul in this game in the second half. Let us add that. Adrian Smith is on the line for two. First one good. And this, by the way, is the first time we've had a two-shot personal that a player was fouled in the act of shooting. For the first time, Kentucky takes a 16-point lead. Smith with his second shot good, and Kentucky leads for the first time by 17. So the score's Kentucky 47-30 over Florida. Up in the front court's Joe Hobbs. Cuts to the left on Odie Smith, and Cox picks him up, driving him into the left corner. Raven lays it up. No good. Ed Beck gets the rebound for the Wildcats. Out-jumping Sherwood by quite a bit. Over to Adrian Smith now, who moves it up into front court. Down the right side to Krigler. Fakes, breaks in on Rabhan, who fouled him, grabbing for the ball. Rabhan drawing his first foul. So the only two fouls of the second half go to the Gators. We've played 6 minutes, 50 seconds, with Kentucky leading 47-30. They've outscored Florida by 8 points in the second half as Krigler hits the free throw, his first one in 2 tries. Kentucky leads by 48-30. And the Cats, for the first time, have an 18-point lead. Pike in front court for Florida. Feeds right side to Sherwood. Beck, unsuspecting, came in from the rear to block the ball out of bounds beautifully. Fine defensive play by Ed Beck. Bob Sherwood will put it in play for the Gators to the left of the basket, over the baseline. Gets the ball, lays it on the floor, picks it up, which is really the hike signal. Then shoots a high lob pass to Charlie Pike, takes it over his shoulder near the center stripe. Moves down the right side against Odie Smith, breaks for the basket, shoots from 10 feet, good. Charlie Pike gets his second field goal of the game. Kentucky 48, Florida 32. Adrian Smith back in front court now. Waves it over his head toward Beck, then shoots it to Hatton. Hatton moves cautiously back, then down the right side to Krigler. Back to Hatton, moves in on Hobbs at the baseline, turns and shoots. No good. Sherwood rebounds for Florida. Pass it over to Charlie Pike. They got a 3-2 break against Smith. Now here it is, Pike giving over on the right side. Krigler got it up Kentucky. Up to Smith to Hatton in front court. Hatton moving against Hobbs to the baseline. Double team, picks it up. He missed it. Knocking up, Beck gets the rebound, and a foul on Hatton, who went in to try to get it. And it's his third personal foul. That's the first one on Kentucky in the second half. 12 minutes and 7 seconds to play. Kentucky 48, Florida 32. Vernon Hatton's been tremendous here tonight with his 10 field goals. On the Florida free throw line is Walter Rabhan. He's shooting one on the backcourt foul. It's good. Rabhan's first point, and he is the second man to score. Here's Hatton throwing one in to Beck, who missed it, and it went out of bounds. A miscue on the incoming pass gives the ball back out of bounds to Florida, just to the left of their basket, as they trail Kentucky now by only 15 points. High pass comes into Hoban on the left side. He breaks to the baseline, gives a high pass. Cox knocks away from Sherwood. Beck picks it up, and Krigler walks with it. Moving in, Pike knocked it down from the rear. Krigler went back to pick it up, and they called walking. Pike passing in deep to Hobbs now. Kentucky's gotten possession of the ball twice in Florida's front court, but hadn't been able to get it out of there yet. Hobbs from 25 feet hits. Joe Hobbs with his fifth field goal pulls Florida now within 13 points, and it's timeout Kentucky. Second timeout for each team. 11 minutes and 25 seconds to play here in Gainesville. The score stands Kentucky 48, Florida 35. But the Gators, down by 18 points, have just peeled off 5 in a row. So far, we've seen Vernon Hatton be the big gun, as he has come out to pick up a total of 20 points on 10 field goals, and he hasn't been to the free throw line yet. Adrian Smith has come back with 2 points here in the second half, and he's in double figures now with 10. Ed Beck has picked up 4 points in the second half, and he has a total of 6. Johnny Cox still hasn't scored in the second half. He has only 2 points for the whole game. John Krigler has picked up 5 points now in the second half and has a total of 7. That's Kentucky's second half scoring. For Florida, Joe Hobbs has picked up 6 and now has a total of 12. Charlie Pike has picked up 4, and that's his total, as he was shut out in the first half. Jim Zahn didn't score, hasn't in the second half. Dick Hoban got a field goal, and that's his only 2 points of the game. Jerry Henderson has a field goal and now has a total of 6 points. Walter Rabhan has a free throw, and that's his only point of the game. Bob Sherwood has been shut out in the second half after getting 6 in the first. That's the scoring now as we go back to play with Kentucky in possession at midcourt. The incoming pass is to Vernon Hatton in backcourt, back to Adrian Smith. Down the left side to Krigler, back to Smith. Hatton goes through, fakes to him, and here's a foul. It's going against Hoban of Florida. It's his first personal. And the third against the Gators. Krigler goes to the Kentucky free throw line. He's hit one and missed one. 11 minutes and 18 seconds to go. Krigler shoots. It's short, no good. Back taps, no good. Cox rebounds and hooks. No good. Back taps it in. Ed Beck has just tapped in his third field goal, and Kentucky leads 50-35. Back into front court now is Joe Hobbs of Florida talking to Charlie Pike to his left. Fakes to the right, comes back to the left, inside, down the left side against Johnny Cox. Moves out, quick one-handed shot, no good. Fighting for the ball, it's on the floor, picking it up, Adrian Smith of Kentucky. He's 2-on-1 against Pike with Cox. Over to Smith, who lays it up and in. Fine play by Adrian Smith for his fourth field goal of the game, and Kentucky leads by 52-35. 17-point advantage of Kentucky now. They come back with two quick field goals. Here's Hobbs down the right side to Rabhan. Back over to Pike on the side. Smith turns him back, though. He comes back out. Krigler picks him up. Fakes it toward the pivot, then tries it, and it's knocked down by Krigler, picked up by Adrian Smith, who sets a 3-2 fast break to the left side, gets his shot away, no good, taken up by Rabhan, knocked away out of bounds by Johnny Cox. Florida takes over down in backcourt. Hatton started for Pike, then backed away, and he gets the pass, returns to Hobbs. Hobbs walking up the backcourt now, breaks into a trot as he reaches the center stripe. Cuts to the right, fires a quick 20-footer that's no good into the right. Ed Beck rebounds for Kentucky, whips it to Adrian Smith, avoids contact with Pike, gives to Hatton against Hobbs. He hits from 5 feet straight away. Hatton has 11 field goals in this ball game. Kentucky leads 54-35, their longest lead of the game. Back in front court, these 11 field goals, the most for any Cat. Here's Hobbs on the left side, falls away and misses as it hits high off the rim. It's knocked up by Rabhan, no good, and rebounded by Krigler of Kentucky. Hatton's wide open, but Pike knocks it out of bounds on an attempted Krigler pass to Odie Smith. Smith passing into Hatton now, who's picked up 11 field goals in this contest. In front court, he feeds back on the pivot. Beck turns his back, then looks for Hatton, passes out to Cox. A 20-foot jump shot's no good, under the basket and out of bounds. Cox playing with that right hand heavily taped. We looked at it today at noon, and Cox has got a lot of swelling in the hand he injured in the Georgia Tech game. 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go here in Gainesville. Here's a pass to Sherwood in the pivot. A high jump shot over Beck is short. It's knocked up into the air by Rabhan, no good. Now Hatton gets it for Kentucky against Charlie Pike. He lets everybody flow by him and then moves into the attack court for Kentucky. Top rim of the circle. He angles left, shoots her back to Odie Smith, breaks right. Can't get a shot out of there and gives to Hatton. Back to Smith. Smith passes to Cox on the right side, brings it out, gives to Hatton, goes in against Hobbs, one-on-one, pulls up, delays beautifully to let Sherwood miss him, and then drops it in. Man, this Hatton, too bad this couldn't be where many Kentucky people could see. He's tremendous. 6 field goals in each half. 56-35, and for the first time, the Cats lead by 21. Here's a steal by Hatton over to Smith. Pike knocks it down. Hatton moves out and gets it and lets Florida go by. Man, this Hatton's got the bit in his teeth tonight. Here it is over to Cox. By Rabhan, steps out of bounds, and it goes over to Florida. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to play. Kentucky 56, Florida 35. Florida unbeaten here on the home floor this season. 2 losses to LSU and Georgia, both away from home. Here it is to Rabhan. A 25-foot jump shot is no good. Tapped in, though, by Sherwood for his second field goal of the game. 56-37, Kentucky leads. Vernon Hatton passes over to Adrian Smith, who moves into front court for Kentucky. Down the left to Cox. A one-bounce dribble gives to Hatton going by. He pulls up from 15 feet, then passes out to Cox, back to Hatton, to Beck at the free throw line. He fakes, gives over to Smith. He sets, moves out to the free throw line. Down the middle, 10-foot jump shot blocked by Pike, taken by Sherwood to the left of the basket. Smith's hand was hit then, and he couldn't get the ball up to the basket. Now Hobbs, down the left side, goes one-on-one against Hatton. Turns and passes out to Pike. He breaks to the right against Smith, pulls up quick jump shots in and out. Taken off by Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Moves away from Sherwood and passes up to Adrian Smith. Whips in front court to Krigler on the right. Moves in against Rabhan one-on-one. Comes out and shoots, and it's no good. Knocked off of the head of Johnny Cox. Hatton picks it up outside. Moves back to set it up against Hobbs. Hatton whips to Beck in the pivot. Hobbs slapping for it. He goes back to Beck from 30 to Hatton, rather from 30 feet. No good. Cox gets the rebound, shoots it to Adrian Smith. Moves left. Hobbs knocks it down. Smith picks it up and shoots. It's no good. Tapped by Beck. No good. Outside rebound by Pike of Florida. Hatton turns him out deep as he moves now to the right. Cuts back to the left and gets wide open. He got it. Charlie Pike with his third field goal of the night makes it 56-39 in favor of Kentucky. 6 minutes and 40 seconds to play here in Gainesville. Adrian Smith in front court, fires one to the pivot that Pike knocks over to Cox. Now it's into Beck. He fakes to Cox, moves to the right, loses the ball, fights through and gets it. Krigler goes in, he hands to Cox in the right corner. Cox has got his screen, gives a pass to Adrian Smith. Fakes Pike and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Florida. Timeout, Florida. It is the third timeout by Florida in the game. Stops the clock with 6 minutes and 19 seconds to play. The score, Kentucky 56, Florida 39. Well, Florida pulled within 13 points at 48-35 when the clock showed 11 minutes 25 seconds to go, and the Wildcats called a timeout. Now, since the timeout, Kentucky has outscored Florida by 6-4, and they have increased the lead to 56-39. We've seen a tremendous game here tonight by Vernon Hatton of Kentucky, who has hit these ropes for 6 field goals each half of play. Hatton, with his 12 field goals, has really been tremendous. He stayed right even with the whole Florida team for quite a while. Then the Gators were able to hit more than Hatton could by himself hit. They've got 15, and Hatton has 12. The most field goals by any player this year. That's the 14 that Johnny Cox registered against Tennessee. So Hatton is 2 away from the season's high held by Johnny Cox. Charlie Pike of Florida puts the ball in play to Joe Hobbs now as we go into the last 6 minutes, 16 seconds. Here in Gainesville, Florida now as the Gators to the attack. Hobbs down the left side, picked up by Cox in the left corner, shoots one anyway that's no good, and Beck rebounds short of the basket. Fights his way out, holds up, Hobbs goes for him. He passes up to Vernon Hatton. Hatton lets Hobbs move by him and then passes to Smith in front court. Beck moves to the free throw line, high pivot as it's down to Krigler on the left side. Back to Hatton, all the way to lay it in. Vernon Hatton has 13 field goals. Kentucky 58, Florida 39. Up into front court now, Joe Hobbs, angling to the left, goes down the left side. Adrian Smith stays with him, then he falls away and shoots good. Joe Hobbs has 6 field goals, 5.5 minutes to play. Kentucky 58-41. Vernon Hatton in front court, a high pivot pass goes to Beck, hands off to Hatton, goes in, wide open and lays it in. Vernon Hatton has 14 field goals now. Man, it looks like he's going to show Joe Hobbs tonight who can get field goals. If that's what Hatton's got fire in his eye. Down the left side, Pike goes against Cox on the switch. Turns hands off in the corner to Zen, who's back in that pivot now, replacing Sherwood at that last Florida timeout. Pike moves left side. Can't get rid of Smith. Passes on the left to Pike with Cox on him now. He breaks to the baseline against Cox. Still can't get a shot away. Shoots a high one out to Joe Hobbs. With 5 minutes to go, Kentucky 60, Florida 41. Here's Hobbs from 25 feet. He hit it, and he's fouled as Beck fouled him. Ed Beck broke through a screen and knocked him over backward as Hobbs nonetheless hit for his 7th field goal. Beck now has 4 personal fouls. Hobbs will go to the free throw line. Don Mills is going to replace Ed Beck at center. Mills has been the only Kentucky substitute tonight. 4 minutes and 57 seconds to play as Ed Beck leaves. The fans boo him. Of course, that's a courtesy here in Gainesville because Beck's been tremendous on those boards tonight and fine defensive play, and in points, 8. 3 better than his average. So he's been getting his points. Here's the shot by Hobbs. It's good. He's missed only 7 out of 71 free throws this year. Vernon Hatton moving up the back court with a 60-44 Kentucky lead. Gives over to Smith to Krigler on the left side. Brings it out to the top of the circle. Hands it off to Johnny Cox. He moves to the left, gives to Hatton, who cuts right down the middle and shoots no good, but a foul is called against Florida. Foul goes against Hoban. It's the 2nd personal foul on Hoban, and only the 4th foul of this half against Florida compared to just 2 against Kentucky. Hatton is on the free throw line, and believe me or not, this is the first time he's been on the free throw line. He's shooting 1. It's good. And Vernon Hatton has 29 points. 61-44. Kentucky leads. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Hatton has equaled the season's high on field goals and is within 1 point of equaling the most scored by any Kentuckian. Hobbs whips to Henderson. Here's that swooping hook that's no good. Zen gets the rebound, and he hooks good. Jim Zen gets his 2nd field goal of the game, cutting the Kentucky lead down to 61-46. High pass to Don Mills, back to Hatton, moving to the left against Zen. He fakes him and lays it up, no good. Zen rebounds. Hatton goes with him. Passing out now to Hobbs, delaying him in back court. Pike's wide open on the left side. He gets it, moves in, and he missed the shot. Zen taps. It's no good. And a foul is called. Goes against Cox of Kentucky. It is his 2nd personal foul. There are 4 minutes and 4 seconds to play. Kentucky 61, Florida 46. And on the free throw line, Jim Zinn. That course of boos is for Ed Beck. Don Mills goes out. Of course, when you're away from home and they boo, that generally means you're hurting them. So Zinn of Florida will shoot one on this third foul of the half against Kentucky, and it's good. 61-47 is Kentucky's lead. We got 4 minutes to go here in Gainesville. Adrian Smith goes into front court now, moves to the left side. Beck moves out. He hits Cox with a pass, who brings it out, gives to Hatton. He sets from 25 feet. Looks good. Vernon Hatton has 15 field goals, and these 31 points is the most scored by any Kentuckian this season. 63-47, Kentucky leads as Pike hangs up with Adrian Smith, passes to Hobbs. Moves left, 25-footer, good. Hobbs has 8 field goals. 3.5 minutes to go. Kentucky 63, Florida 49. The Gators have moved to within 14 points. Kentucky's biggest lead was 21. Hatton gives back a high pivot pass. Back to Hatton, moves under the basket, and they call Hatton for charging. Now that's 4 fouls on Hatton and 4 fouls on Kentucky in this second half. Zinn moved out and hit Hatton with his knee, and they say that Hatton charged into that knee for his 4th personal. So 2 of these Kentucky starters are on the floor with 4 personals, Hatton and Beck. Zinn of Florida will shoot one. Each team's committed 4 fouls in the second half with 3 minutes, 21 seconds to go. Zinn hits, and Florida has moved up to within 13 points. Here's Hatton in backcourt, picked up by Hobbs, and he goes off and leaves him. Hatton setting it up out deep, fires to Beck on the free throw line. Beck spins left, gives to Cox. Hatton's open under the basket, but Cox couldn't get it to him across court. Here it is over to Krigler, to Hatton, out to Smith, in the pivot to Beck, back to Hatton, 25-footer, it's good. Vernon Hatton has 16 field goals as the Cats go on top by 15. And this Hatton has been magnificent here tonight. He won this ball game here 2 years ago as a sophomore. Hobbs dribbles behind his back and shoots. No good. Beck taps it to the outside, but Hobbs picks it up in the right corner. Shoots again, way short, and Beck rebounds for Kentucky. 2 men hit him, and he jars loose and gets away. Gives over to Adrian Smith, moving in front court. He pulls up at the free throw line, gives to Beck. 2.5 minutes to play here in Florida. Kentucky 65, Florida 50. Vernon Hatton has 33 points. Adrian Smith is knocked on the floor now by Joe Hobbs. Foul is on Hobbs for his 2nd one of the game. 2 minutes and 27 seconds to go. Earl Atkins is going to come in to replace Adrian Smith, so he can't do it. With Smitty on the free throw line, shooting 1. Smith's picked up 12 points tonight. Free throw good as he gets number 13. Kentucky leads 66-50. 2.5 minutes to go. Joe Hobbs in front court with an average of 24 points. Down the right side to Henderson from 25 feet. He misses. Beautiful rebound by Ed Beck of Kentucky. 3 men go for him, and he rips it to Cox in front court. 2-on-1 with Hatton. Cox all the way, lays it in. Johnny Cox gets his 2nd field goal of the game. Kentucky leads 68-50. We got 2 minutes to go as Charlie Hobbs of Florida comes in front court, and Hatton takes it away from him. Hatton reached out and got it all the way. He missed it, but it's a foul going against Hobbs of Florida. Hobbs pushing from the rear, getting his 3rd personal foul. That's 5 of them against Florida in this half, and Odie Smith comes out for the first time in the game. Man, this Vernon Hatton tonight. 16 field goals and a free throw, and he's up for 1 now. 1 minute and 58 seconds to play. Don Mills coming in for Kentucky. Don Mills will replace Ed Beck. Listen to this.
Way to go, Ed.
Now Abe Collinsworth comes in, 21-year-old senior from Salyersville, replacing Johnny Cox. Collinsworth, 6'3", weighs 190. The 11th score with 7 points, a .7 average. He's had 3 two-point nights, LSU, Tulane, and Georgia Tech and Lexington. Vernon Hatton on the free throw line, shooting 2 shots. An underhander from between the knees is good. 34 points for Vernon Hatton. Fouled in the act of shooting. He gets another one. Hatton has exactly twice the number of field goals as Hobbs of Florida, 16-8. The free throw's good, and Kentucky leads 70-50. We're into the last 2 minutes of this ball game as Hobbs moves in front court against Earl Atkins, who's come in replacing Smith. Has to throw it out to Pike, and a bad pass, he gets it. Atkins, the 24-year-old senior from Ashland, as Pike moves to the left. The foul's on Don Mills of Kentucky, who brushed into Pike. That's the first foul on Mills. Atkins, 6'4", weighs 180, 75 points. He's now the number 6 scorer with a 6.8 average. 25 against Bandy's his big night. Now they're going to put the foul on Vernon Hatton, so he fouls out of the game. Instead of Don Mills, they put the foul against Vernon Hatton, so he's out with 1 minute and 47 seconds to play. Man, they fiddle-faddled around with that one long enough, didn't they? Before they finally figured it out. Well, we've seen a tremendous ball game by Hatton tonight. 35 points for Hatton tonight. His best night since the 26 against Duke in his first game. Hobbs shoots and it's good at the free throw line. He whipped Hobbs 16-8 on field goals here tonight. Here's Krigler with it on the right side with a pass from Lowell Hughes, who's come in to replace him. And Krigler shoots good from 20 feet. John Krigler has 4 field goals. Kentucky 72, Florida 51. For the second time, Kentucky's got a lead. Here's Collinsworth taking it away from Pike, shooting it to Lowell Hughes. Whips to Atkins in front court. Breaks for the basket. Atkins flips over to Collinsworth, who goes all the way and lays it in and is knocked to the floor. Collinsworth gets his first field goal of the night, and the Cats lead 74-51. A 23-point lead with 1:10 to go. Here's Hobbs out deep against Atkins, moving to the left. Hughes picks him up and he shoots. It's good. Joe Hobbs has 9 field goals, but you can't count those against Vernon Hatton. Here's Collinsworth giving over to Atkins. Wide open all the way. He's charging. Earl Atkins drawing his first foul. Man, these Cats have been rip snorting tonight. They've been hot, horsing, and ready to go, and they've taken a good Florida ball club apart. 59 seconds to play. Kentucky 74, Florida 53. Zen, who's hit 4 out of 5, is on the Gator free throw line for 1. Bonus rule is now into effect against the Wildcats. Zen hasn't missed in his last 4 tries. This shot's good. We'll be back with you 1 week from Saturday when Kentucky plays Ole Miss in Lexington. Broadcast time 7:45 over these same Standard Oil stations. Zen stands in, reducing the Kentucky lead to 20 points. Now shoots and misses. Tapped no good by Holman, knocked outside to Hobbs. Breaks to the left with Lowell Hughes on him. Can't get a shot away to Pike. From 30 feet, no good. Lowell Hughes high in the air to take off the rebound for Kentucky. Whips it up to Collinsworth. The Cats got it 3-on-1. Collinsworth gives to Atkins, who's fouled by Hobbs of Florida, his 4th one. And while we wait for the free throws, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. It's 27 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Earl Atkins shooting 1 free throw for Kentucky, hits. Checkers shooting 2. They warned that the bonus rule was in effect, but Atkins was fouled in the act of shooting. 75-54 in favor of the Wildcats, who've had 1 23-point lead. Bonus shot or second shot by Atkins is good. And it's 76-54 for the Wildcats. 40 seconds to go as Hobbs moves up in front court for Florida. Drives to the left side, picks up Lowell Hughes, and then fires from 25 feet. Good. Hobbs has 10 field goals. Now Florida goes into a full court press. The pass is into Atkins. He gives down to John Krigler, the only regular left in the ball game. Over to Lowell Hughes, moving in front court. He gives a high one to Atkins as Hobbs, trying to get away from Hughes, hit the floor. Atkins double team, gives it over to Hughes as Hobbs hits the floor again. Hughes drops in a 15-foot jump shot. Lowell Hughes with his first field goal puts Kentucky on top 78-56. Only 5 seconds to go now. Pike down the right side, shoots from 30 feet and misses. And Don Mills rebounds for Kentucky as the ball game ends. Kentucky 78, Florida 56, and we've seen a great ball game out of these Cats tonight, who left some doubt as to what they were going to do in their 2 performances in Atlanta. But here in Gainesville tonight, boy, they have really gone to work. Well, we'll have the individual scoring for you in just a moment. Today's smart drivers buy the gasoline designed for their cars. That's why so many are switching to Standard Oil's newest Super Crown Extra, the motor fuel specifically designed for the modern high-horsepower, high-compression engine. Even cars with 300-plus horsepower perform noticeably better. Deliver noticeably better mileage with Super Crown Extra. When you stop at the familiar Standard Oil sign, you needn't pay a penny for power your car can't use because you choose from 3 gasolines, not just 2. There's Crown gasoline, the popular regular, big value Crown Extra gasoline. And for all new cars and older cars with higher compression engines, there's Super Crown Extra, the modern motor fuel that's truly in a class by itself. Try one of these fine Standard Oil gasolines the next time you fill up. Here's the scoring. Vernon Hatton, who fouled out with 1:47 seconds to play tonight, put on his greatest scoring exhibition as we've seen all season. He racked up a total of 16 field goals, exactly twice what Joe Hobbs of Florida did in the time that Hatton played. He had 35 points as he added 3 free throws. That would certainly go down as one of the best on-the-road scoring performances of the season. So Hatton was way ahead of everybody in scoring. He had 12 of those points at halftime, but came back with 10 field goals in the second half, where he got 23 of his 35 points. That's the most field goals for a Kentuckian this season. It's the most points by 5 scored by a